Western films. Love them or hate them, there's probably a Western film you enjoyed at some point. Maybe you didn't even realise it was a Western, like The Mandalorian Star Wars show or even Kill Bill. Like many other major genres of film, Westerns have over the years gained tropes that can sometimes define the films they're in. Have you ever wondered why you don't question why the sound of a harmonica fits so well with a train speeding by, narrowly avoiding the protagonist? Or what gives that cowboy attitude to certain guitar chords? I hope to explain these topics in this video, going over the music and sound design of the particular subgenre of spaghetti westerns. Yes, I did just use that gunshot sound effect. Spaghetti westerns are Italian-produced films that at the time of their rise into popularity in the 1960s were subverting the expectations and norms of the classic American western film. The morally ambiguous anti-heroes were interesting and unpredictable. The villains were over-the-top and charismatic, and the soundtracks redefined the sounds of westerns for generations. It's a golden age of the genre that still, in my opinion, stands to this day. The origin of the name spaghetti western is somewhat derogatory. They were dubbed this by critics because of the producer's nationality and European locations for filming. I have to say that I was kind of expecting a deeper meaning behind the title, but it's still an interesting fact to me. Due to the many languages throughout Europe, these films needed to be translated a lot of times to be able to sell well to different people. Because of this, the films use little amounts of dialogue in many scenes, which has become a trope of its own. This makes the musical sound design of these films even more important, and potentially why they've become so well recognised. The music and sound design of spaghetti westerns is one of the strongest legs in why they've held up as one of the most prominent subgenres in history. This has gotten so extreme that spaghetti westerns are some of, if not the most famous and important westerns overall, like the Dollars trilogy by Sergio Leone, including A Fistful of Dollars, For a Few Dollars More, and most recognisable to many, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The music and sound design is what I want to focus on with this essay, and I don't want to waste any time going over the history of westerns. If anything important needs to be mentioned while going over the music, it will be. Without any more rambling, let's delve into what truly, in my opinion, makes these films great.
Looks like we're shy of one horse.
When the chimes end, pick up your gun. Try and shoot me, Colonel. Just try.
You can't really write a script about the music of spaghetti westerns without mentioning Ennio Morricone. Morricone didn't just write the music for these films, he completely redesigned what westerns sounded like. To defy the norms for classic American western films, Morricone completely removed the large heroic orchestras from the picture and decided to replace them with harsh tones that sounded almost homemade, which they kind of were, to be honest. The low budget of early spaghetti westerns meant that everyone who took part in the production had to get creative. The style of the sounds in the film weren't only because they had little to work with budget-wise though, that would be discrediting Morricone's skill, but the choices of instruments and tools were an intentional stylistic choice. Using electric guitar, gunshots that were in time with the music, church bells, and even natural human sounds such as whistling were all reflecting a harsh and morally unstable world that had to make do with what it was given, and often didn't give much back. Although all of these aspects were unique and thrilling, the real ace up Morricone's sleeve was restraint. He didn't overdo it, he held onto his cards and played them when necessary. It was all very deliberate. It meant that when the score finally did kick in, it was amazing.
Careless of you, old man.
The crafted nature of the sound design in spaghetti westerns becomes even more apparent when you focus on audio. Naturally, that sounds obvious, but thanks to the direction of the films I made a point of earlier, the audio is what is made most obvious in many scenes. Most will say that silence is used to build tension in these films, but that's not always necessarily correct. While a scene may sound crushingly quiet, it's often actually a mix of a lack of music, you've already been through that, and also louder than normal ambient sounds that bring forth that tension. It's this gritty texture that helps you feel like you're really there in the scene. You pick up on sounds that you might only notice in real life, but boosted tenfold. The quiet nature of spaghetti westerns isn't just pure silence, but exaggerated silence. It's with this technique that helps the story along as well. Once the viewer is tuned into the sounds of the film, they hear actions before they see them. For instance, the subtle snap of a holster and the click of a revolver might not even appear on screen. You hear decisions being made before they occur. When I was writing the script for this video, I was originally going to have the music and sound design of these films written separately. They were going to have their own distinct chapters. But as I've worked on making this, I've realised that you can't separate two things that work so closely together that they might as well be one. This leads me on to my next point, the musical nature of the sound design. Rhythm can be found within footsteps, gun mechanisms loudly click in time. There's also sounds within the natural environment as well, like the scratching of wood beneath a boot, the wind slowly pushing a shop sign to and fro, and even the wind itself. They all add to the musical nature of the world around the characters. It's rich with atmosphere and it makes everything feel in the moment. Despite everything feeling so real, the goal of the spaghetti western was never to be realistic. It's all meant to tell stories of myth and legend. We're seeing this all on film, but the way everything sounds could easily be described across a campfire by somebody telling you the story of a long-forgotten western hero. It's as if the sound design is a voice describing in detail what's happening. The blur between the sound and score is so crucial, you just wouldn't have the same vibe without the collaboration between them.
Music played and people sang. Just for me, the church bells rang.
Spaghetti westerns didn't just alter society's entire perception of what a western looks like. They seriously impacted film as a medium entirely. Major directors like Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez have been inspired to exaggerate the contrast between sound and silence, and using single sounds that manage to carry narrative weight. When you begin to understand the direction of spaghetti westerns, you begin to see the earliest signs of trends used in not only films but also video games. The writing style can be seen in all forms of media. It's why westerns overall are such a universal genre. Movies like these are able to tap into so many senses. I may have focused on the music and sound design of spaghetti westerns here, but that's just one part of a profoundly human art form that I highly recommend seeing more of. They might not be for everyone, but they're definitely for me. Thank you very much for watching the first video essay I have ever made. It has certainly inspired me to make more in the future.